Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shaily Namdeo from the world of hidden thoughts, and we have today for our author's interview a very brilliant and exceptionally young author, Tejashwini Kumar, who recently published an amazing book called The Asile of the Oracle Devourer. And trust me, I have read it, and this is one of the greatest read that I have read yet. So, without any further ado, let's start. Hello, Tejashwini. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
Oh, I'm really perfect. So, can you tell a little about yourself?
I have always been fascinated by human behavior, especially how we form relationships and trust. I started writing in preschool because I had different ideas and characters that I wanted to execute in real life. And my early writing was more illustrative and it reflected what I really enjoyed reading then. But I took a break because of school and friendships and hobbies, and I got into fantasy fiction, especially the Percy Jackson series. So over time, I became more interested in character relationships and dialogue and small details that make characters more relatable.
Oh, wow. When you said that you actually got interested in the Percy Jackson movies, I can see all the references in the book. It was awesome. Actually, that was the first thought that came into my mind when I was reading about all the demigods and all the prophecies that was happening. Percy Jackson was the first person I thought of. So very brilliantly
Really?
written. And you started your writing journey quite early, right? So what made you think like, okay, I can be a writer and I can write a book?
I always enjoyed writing as a hobby, and I found it very stimulating and energizing. I started with small pieces written on a whim, but then as I got more hooked into fantasy, I wanted to create something of my own.
Oh wow, we all love fantasies, don't we? What is one of your favorite
Yes.
fantasy book or movie that you have seen and you loved it?
My favorite movie would be Harry Potter because I enjoy like the fantasy elements, and I really like how Hogwarts was like portrayed in the movie. But my favorite series would be Percy Jackson because there's something really whimsical about like the entire story, like the demigods, the prophecies, and even how the characters and the gods are humanized in a way that makes them more relatable to us.
Oh wow, that is beautiful. Even I love Harry Potter. Seriously, crazy fan. I read like every single book written by J.K. Rowling. Okay, so apart from that, what actually inspired you to write The Asile of Oracle, like Oracle Devourer in particular, this book? Like all the themes and how the characters got the idea into your brain that, okay, this is a story I want to pursue and make it into a full fledged book.
Well, it started with my passion for Greek mythology and fantasy, and I just wanted to develop something that I enjoy based on those ideas. I really look forward to creating my own characters and dynamics and conflicts. I enjoyed like really laying it out, like in real life.
Wow, that is beautiful. And as I was reading your book, there are certain characters like, Alana, Cedric, and Klaus. Am I right? So, how
Yes.
did those character like? How did you started imagining those character? How did they came into existence for your book?
Well, I would say that I really took like the traits. I really took like my traits and kind of integrated that into my characters. Like for example, Klaus is really expressive, and he adds a dramatic flair to everything he says. And then Alana is relatable on the surface, and she proves to be like the heart of the group. But like Cedric is like really emotional. He feels things really deeply, and I feel like I kind of um I kind of wrote my characters to make them relatable more to me. really.
Okay, so every single character that are involved in this book have a certain piece of yourself.
Yes.
Oh wow, that is brilliant. That is how authors are created, by the way. And what actually, like, is there any piece of book or any piece of text that you read that made you feel that, okay, I can actually do it, I can actually be an author?
Well, I wouldn't say that there was a particular piece. Writing was just a passion that evolved on its own. But while writing this book, I realized that yeah, I could create characters that make sense, and I could create an entire world with like many different intricate pieces. And yeah, the confidence and the consistency came from my passion for writing.
Oh wow, I'm really enjoying your passion for writing right here. And what about how could you like, is there any difference between the first imagination of the book that you had in your brain before the writing and the final draft that came along? So, is there any difference between those two? The first idea and the final draft?
Well, I have to admit that when I started writing, I didn't really know how to, well, like put the story off on a spin. So I drafted different ideas for each chapter and used those to gradually build a solid plotline. But as I continued to review the book, I realized that the climax and the ending didn't really flow smoothly with the beginning. So once I finished like the main manuscript, I edited like anything that didn't really quite work.
Okay, so it was a piece of puzzle that finally came together at the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Tejashwini, you are exceptionally young to be writing such a brilliant book. So, what are certain challenges that you might have faced in your writing journey yet?
Well, I wouldn't say that I faced a lot of major challenges, but writing a full book takes a lot of time and consistency and patience. And I feel like young writers can sometimes be underestimated because of their age, but I try not to dwell too much on that. I believe that the quality of your work really speaks for itself, not regardless of your age.
Okay, as you said that, the young authors are obviously sometimes underestimated. So, is there any certain advice that you would like to give to the young authors so that they can, go on with their ideas and make the book of that idea that they have in their mind?
Yeah, certainly. I would say that for anyone who wants to start writing, I would say to just start. Like, don't focus on it being too perfect, because as you continue writing, like from my experience, I feel like my style just develops on its way. It's just natural. It develops and improves.
Okay, so it comes to you, right? We should not hide it. We should express it more.
It just comes.
Okay, so like as you said that it's really hard, or you can say there are certain challenges to write a long book as a young author because it takes time, patience. So like is there any certain life experiences that you had that gave you the idea of how these certain themes that you express in your book itself, for example, friendship, came into existence?
Well, really, I just focus on my own friendships that I have with my peers, and then I kind of, well, inspire that in my own in my own characters. And I feel like um different aspects that my characters have, like their dynamics, their conflicts, their relationships, I feel like they're quite modern and they're quite catered to how teenagers interact.
That is very true. And like, okay, So, you are a young author, obviously. You must have seen how the social media is greatly involving and influencing people, specifically young crowd these days. So, do you think social
Yes.
media can have any impact on people, young authors, that can inspire them rather than, whatever the drawbacks that they are explaining about the social medias and digital medias?
Yes, I feel like in this generation, social media has a very wide reach, and content can spread much faster than any traditional methods. It gives young writers a platform to showcase their work to a larger audience. So, in summary, it is a powerful tool for promoting creative work.
Oh wow, that is really true. And what about like okay, so young or not, I have heard that most of the authors they experienced writer blocks. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, a lot of times. I actually can't really count. But I sometimes feel like taking a break, like stepping back and then really thinking about how the plot goes. It kind of helps you come back and then keep writing.
Oh wow. So what would you advise other people? Like how can they overcome, specifically if we are talking about the young authors in particular, right? Because I've seen that many young authors they start but they stop in between because they are having a writer's block and that is
Yeah.
really bad. So what advice would you give them?
Well, um, yeah, writer's block is very common and it's not really something that you can avoid. But I would say that planning everything beforehand so that you have step by step scenes of how everything is going to go, I feel like that can help. So that if you're stuck, you can always just refer to the layout of the book and then that will help you.
Okay, so we are talking coming back to your book as I said that your book is really heavily involved around Greek mythologies. So what inspired you to look into, that certain area, the Greeks, the demigods, the gods, the prophecies?
Um, I would say that it was the way that Greek mythology was first explained to me that really drew me into writing about it eventually. I found the legends and the epic heroes really fascinating, and I just wanted to put my own spin on them.
Oh wow, because I really do understand because Greek mythology is very complex and very beautiful. The first Greek mythology that I heard was Persephone. You have heard of her, right?
Yeah.
Persephone, yeah, the queen of underworld.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah, so it got me into Greek mythology. So there must be some certain Greek, character that got you involved into the Greek mythology itself.
Actually, for me, it was Perseus. Have you heard of Perseus,
Oh yeah.
the hero that slayed Medusa? Yeah, that's what got me into Greek mythology because frankly, that was the first story that I read. And I got hooked on how everything was described, like the exact points. Like, for example, Perseus going into Medusa's lair and then eventually just cutting her head off. Wait, sorry if I'm being too graphic, but this is what really got me into Greek mythology.
Well, obviously, because I remember as a child, I was obsessed with that. Specifically, the story
Yeah,
of
so was
Medusa.
I.
Yeah, right. Because this Greek mythology, and specifically the way the books and the characters and how they reimagine everything that is from the Greek, it's brilliant. And that's exactly what I found in your book. It's exactly the perfect mix of adventure, mystery, Greek mythology, and certain themes like friendship, emotional, individual selections. And it's really awesome. But apart from that,
Thank you.
I actually really enjoyed your book. I usually take time when I read the book, but when I was reading yours, it only took me 1 week to finish.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you.
And what's next? Like, okay, the first part is already out, and obviously, this part leaves you in a suspense. So, what's next? Is there a second part coming out, or you are working on a completely new area or something, maybe new themes, new books? What is your next plan now?
I'm gonna continue writing, and as I told you at the start of the interview, I do have another book planned. It is in sequel to the first book, and I won't spoil any details for the sake of the mystery.
Oh, of course, because I cannot wait. Because this book, the Israel of the Oracle Devourer, this has this certain grabs. Okay, because you are so involved in the story that what I have experienced personally, that you are so involved in the story and it takes you to the certain adventures and the layers of everything that's happening. And it ends with a question. So this is actually brilliant. So what made you think like, okay, maybe I can distribute the parts and the sequel of the books and make it like more mystery and suspense rather than just a fantasy novel?
As well as indulging into fantasy series, I also have taken interest into mysteries and thrillers. For example, Wednesday. You know Wednesday,
Oh
the
yes,
series,
I
the
love
movie series.
that.
Yes, I love it. The certain questions, like you know how in a few episodes it ends with Wednesday asking a few questions.
Oh
Like,
yes.
yeah, I kind of inspired the main question that ended with my book. I kind of inspired that from Wednesday because I enjoy the way she just makes well sh- she makes like mystery even more interesting for me.
Okay, wow. So are we expecting more suspense and mystery in the second sequel of this book?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, from my viewpoint, yes.
Okay, awesome. I seriously cannot wait. All right. So, any other piece of advice that you would like to give young authors from your personal experience when when writing or starting a book? Obviously, the first thought comes that in my mind, in anyone's mind who is young and inexperienced, that will I actually be able to pull it off?
Yeah, that thought also crossed my mind many times while I was writing. Like, especially during writer's block, it would just come to me like, do I really have it in me to finish this book? Because I get stuck so many times. I would just say to keep going. Just keep going, like, despite the writer's block and despite all the challenges that you might face with consistency, just keep going. It's gonna be fine. Just don't focus on it being perfect, like I said.
Okay, that is really, really beautiful. Okay, thank you, Tejashwini. That I really had a good time and good chat with you, and I seriously
So
cannot
did
wait
I.
for the sequel. Guys, this is the book, The Isle of the Oracle Devourer, and just read it. It will catch your mind in a way that you can pull away, and you will be craving for a second sequel. All right, thank you.